Hello everybody and welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be doing the Halloween book tag. This video was originally created over at the Library of Sarah, and I will leave a link down below for you guys to go and follow. And I wasn't tagged by anyone, but as it is coming up on the season of Halloween, one of my favorite holidays, I figured it was only fitting to do a tag for the season. There are 8 questions in this tag and I'm just going to get along with it. Number 1, what is your favorite horror book? That is a genre I really honestly don't read too much of, but if I had to pick a favorite book that is kind of 100% straight horror, it would probably have to be The Exorcist. I remember reading this book and it freaked me out so much when I read it. I mean, the movie also freaks me out, but the book freaked me out so much. It's definitely creepy. Don't read it in the dark. Like, that's all I'm saying. Number 2, scariest moment in a book you've read. I'll do my best to limit that to books that I've read this year, but I think one of the scariest moments I remember reading was really scary predominantly because I didn't anticipate it, and that would probably be the opening chapter of The Coldest Girl in Cold Town by Holly Black. This isn't necessarily a scary chapter when you think on it in retrospect, but at the time, yeah, it was pretty scary. Let me give you a little bit of context. I didn't know anything about The Coldest Girl in Cold Town when I picked it up. I borrowed the audiobook from my local library. All I knew was that it was a paranormal romance with vampires. At least that's what it's shelved as in a bookstore. I figured it was going to be something like Twilight. I could put it on, I'd fall asleep, and I wouldn't have to worry about it. Little did I know that Holly Black really likes to write creepy stories, and also that it was going to open on a girl discovering she has somehow survived a massive vampire massacre at a party. So she walks through bodies and blood and all this stuff, and I genuinely wasn't anticipating it, and I was listening to it, trying to fall asleep in the dark. Freaked me out. So it was probably one of the scariest moments I've ever listened to because I couldn't see ahead, I didn't anticipate what was happening, and I wasn't expecting it. Number 3, would you or have you ever dressed up as a book character for Halloween? Yes, in fact I have. Last year I dressed up as my own interpretation of Death from The Book Thief by Marcus Zusak. I will put in a picture. So basically all I did for this costume was I tried to put as little color on my face as possible and make myself lots of different shades of gray. I wore only shades of gray and black because I figured that would be fitting of Death, considering he is so obsessed with color. I imagine him as a character who doesn't have much color of his own. Number 4, what do you think your favorite character would dress up as for Halloween? Well, my favorite character is probably Elizabeth Bennet from Pride and Prejudice, and I don't know who she would dress up as for Halloween. I think she would just go as herself. She's all the costume she needs. Which is a really stupid answer, but honestly, I don't know. Number 5, what is your favorite kind of horror? Gore, psychological thrillers, spooky, etc., etc. I really like some form of atmospheric, paranormal kind of horror, so it's more about the creepiness of the atmosphere than it is about like kind of jump scares or startling you, especially when it comes to films. I'm like this, and even with books, I don't want to be like shocked. I want to be really immersed in a creepy world. I do also happen to like psychological thrillers when really well done. I'm weirdly picky about thrillers that I like, but a really good psychological thriller is definitely gonna grip me. Number 6, if books were as cheap as candy, which ones would you give out to trick-or-treaters? Frankly, I would just give out so many books as candy if they were as cheap as candy. I would probably hand out The Bone Season by Samantha Shannon or Red Rising by Pierce Brown, because those are 2 books I think more people need to read, and I'm just like, go read them. Here you go. I'm giving you awesomeness for Halloween. 7, Halloween to-read list. I don't necessarily have a to-read list for Halloween. Through the month of October, I do try to every now and then find some slightly creepier books, but outside of that, I don't pick a TBR for Halloween. I don't pick TBRs in general. It's sort of one of my weird rules. So no Halloween TBR. And finally, recommend some Halloween reads. Well, I've already mentioned The Exorcist, The Coldest Girl in Cold Town. Other phenomenal ones that I would recommend are the Gemma Doyle trilogy by Libba Bray, Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children by Ransom Riggs, The Picture of Dorian Gray by Oscar Wilde, The Millennium Trilogy by Stieg Larsson, Frankenstein by Mary Shelley, Dracula by Bram Stoker, as well as Dracula the Undead, the official sequel written by one of Bram Stoker's descendants, and The Phantom of the Opera by Gaston Leroux. Alright, that's it for my Halloween book tag. I don't really tag anyone in particular, but if you feel like doing this, I would love to see your Halloween book tags, because let's be honest, Halloween's like one of the best holidays. I mean, really, it is. But that's it for me today, guys, and so until next time, cheers.